Hi, what's up everyone? My name is David and I'm a musician, but I also do tutorials on Cubase on the internet, and that's what I'm doing today. I'm trying to teach you all 10 of my favorite hotkeys. So let's just jump right into it. Let's get into Cubase. So I was out at the bar earlier today and I was drinking a little bit, but that doesn't mean that I can't have fun. So I got back and I just recorded this 12 bar blues. So let's take a listen to it. That's enough. So yeah, it's just a total wankery in the key of A, but I wanted to record it so that I could show you guys what I do when I'm using hotkeys in Cubase, and I use a ton of hotkeys, and I've narrowed it down to 10, sort of. So the first few that I want to show you all is number one, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 are your tools up here. It's your selection tool, your range selection tool, your cut tool, and your glue tool. Now, all of these are useful as well, I suppose. I don't know. But I use 1, 2, 3, and 4 all the time. So 1 is your selection tool. So let's hit 1 on your keyboard. And that sounds nasty. So let's take our selection tool and move it. No more nasty feedback, huh? And 2 is your range tool. So if you have your range tool selected, let's go to that bass. And even though I was playing some dope fills at the beginning, let's erase it. Or let's just erase that first hit, this one you see right here. So we just grab that and hit delete. Boom, problem solved. So now the beginning is... We did it. And I want you all to know that what I did for this, let's pull up the mixer real quick. There's no mixing involved except for I pulled down the gain levels to make them sound sort of reasonable. It's just 3 instances of VST amp rack and 1 instance of VST bass amp. So that's what you can do, and I spent maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15. And what I did was I just recorded the rhythm parts for 12 bars and then duplicated them, which... gets me to my next part, which is the 3, which is, of course, your cut tool. So we can cut that there. We can select these, delete them. Always nice. And then finally, there's 4. So if you have 4 and you want to glue all these parts together, you just hit the 4 key and you have your little glue tool, and you click on it, and they're all glued together. You can see they all move as one now. But I don't want to do that. I want to leave those as individual parts so I can show you a little bit more of editing. My second favorite hotkey is Control D. So if I take this whole thing, which is 3 12-bar iterations, it's, or 4 12-bar iterations, it's 48, but it ends on 50 because I waited for 2 bars before everything started. I can just Control A to select all, Control D, and then I can move these into place. And we'll have ourselves double the music and it'll all start over. So that's, I use that one all the time, and that one's great for MIDI. So for the drums on this, and I just want to show you, sometimes it's easy to, be intimidated by drums, but all I really did was take Groove Agent SE, a Cubase plugin, and I just put patterns down on the and played to them. So that's all I did to make the drum beat. So I didn't do anything crazy. And a quick note on your selection tool: 1 is your standard. The second one is sizing moves all contents. And the third one, which is a big one, is sizing applies time constraints. I'm not sure if you can see it on my cursor, but if you stretch this out, oops, let's get in here and stretch this out. As opposed to this. So you can actually time stretch stuff just with your selection tool, which is a pretty awesome feature in Cubase. So I've taught you selection, range selection, cut, and glue, which are the four horsemen of the editing apocalypse when you're working with audio. So just keep those in mind, and let's move on. The next one I taught you was Control D, and you guys know all about that one. You just select everything you want, Control D, it'll duplicate it. And it's actually useful for editing drums. So let's say, let's just pull this out here. Let's say I wanted to duplicate this beat. So I hit Control D. Even in MIDI editing, you can, grab, let's say you wanted, this was slightly different, this bar. You can grab this bar, delete it, grab this bar, and duplicate it. And with Control D. So Control D is super powerful both in MIDI editing and in audio editing, just to duplicate parts. And you can always do like Control C here and then come to where you want it to be and hit Control V and paste it. And that's nice. But a lot of times I'll find myself just Control D-ing, and if I wanted to be at 59, just moving it over. So that's the usefulness of Control D. Next, we're going to look at A, the hotkey A, just A on your keyboard, that's all it is a great one. So you want to start with your range selection tool, and let's say we wanted to fade all of these out at the end here. We just grab, let's turn off snap real quick. We just grab these at the end, and we hit A. And what it does is it automatically makes a crossfade, or a fade out. So it automatically makes a fade out for these tracks, so you'll hear them fade out. And you can use A all the time. You can use it in editing parts in the middle of a song. You can use it at the end of certain parts. You can use it when you're stitching parts together. But A is totally awesome. You just range select whatever you want. Like at the beginning here, I have 2 selected. Range select that, hit A. And then we'll solo this track. Whereas if we didn't have it on, I just hit Control Z. You get that a lot earlier. So A is a good one. The next one I want to tell you about is J. J is snap. So if you hit J, and you can see it right here, up in the upper part here. If I hit J, snap goes on and off. And snap is important. I have it set to 1 bar right now. So if I select everything, and I move it, it'll move it 1 bar at a time with the selection tool. So you can see it moves 1 bar at a time. So it'll always be aligned to a bar. But if I have snap off, it'll move fluidly back and forth. It won't snap to a bar. So having snap on and off, you're going to be using J all the time if you want something to be precise and on the grid, or if you want to make precise audio edits that are a matter of milliseconds and don't have anything to do with the grid. That'll determine whether or not you want your snap on or off, which is indicated by this up here, but you can turn it on and off with J. So that's number 4. Number 5 is P. The hotkey P range selects whatever you have selected. So let's take a look at all this and select everything. And if I hit P, you notice my locators, they go around everything I have selected. So let's say I wanted to just select this and loop it. I hit P, and then my range selectors are looped. I can hit the loop here on the transport bar. So P is a good one to know, just because it'll select everything you want. And then what I said earlier was Control A selects everything. And then P puts markers around your whole project. So it's a good one right before import to do Control A, P, because then you can go to your audio mixdown file export audio mixdown, and you'll get the whole project as you've recorded it. So we're moving on to number 6, which is the divided by key on your numpad, which loops things. So it's the equivalent of hitting this thing on your transport bar, but being able to loop things quickly is awesome. So that one's pretty self-explanatory. Number 8 is the times key on your number pad, which will allow you to record. So let's just say I wanted to record myself. So there it is. You can record yourself, and just being able to quickly record is very nice. Obviously, the space bar is another one that'll play and pause. And let me just undo that thing. But you record with the times key on your keyboard. The next thing I'd like to show you is Control Left and Control Right. So if we select everything, and I hit the Control key and left, it'll move everything forward a bar. So you see this ends roughly at 60 on this track right here. If I do Control Right, you can see these numbers here moving. So that's a good one to know. Control Left and Control Right moves things one bar. So we're coming up to the end here. The last one I'd like to show you is F, which is follow. So let's say we're drilled into a project here. As you can see, with F on, which is this thing right here, it'll follow the project. But sometimes you want to make a change to the drums or something. So if you hit F, it won't follow. So watch the cursor move. And you get in here and drill into these parts without the cursor moving. So those are my 10 tips. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's Control D to duplicate. There's A to do automatic fade outs. There's J to do snap on, snap off. There's P to select a range. There's the divided by key to automatically loop. There's X to do crossfades. There's the times key to do recording. There's Control Left and Right to move things one bar according to quantize. And there's F to follow or not follow the cursor while you're recording. So I hope that this tutorial has been helpful. If it has, feel free to like or subscribe. And I hope you all have a great day. Scope out the links in the description if you are so inclined. And take care, everybody. Peace.